Hey there, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the 704 High School Highlight Podcast. My name is Jeff Taylor. I'm the sports director here at Bahakel Sports. And of course, this podcast is brought to you by the Downer Law Firm. They are Charlotte's hometown legal team. If you're ever injured in an accident, make sure you call the Downer Law Firm. We're glad they're on board and help us supporting high school sports. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Bobby Collins.
Glad to be here.
How are you?
Great, man.
Great. Football season.
It's November,
round
man.
two of the playoffs coming up.
Round two coming up. So we're excited to be here and excited for Friday night to come up.
So let's talk a little bit for the people maybe out there who don't know a whole lot about you. Just talk a little bit about growing up. Did you play high school football?
Yeah. I'm originally born in Sumter, South Carolina. Left there, played at South Carolina State. I was fortunate to play for Willie Jeffries and Buddy Pugh. Two Hall
Love
of Fame.
Coach Pugh.
That's my guy.
He'll tell you how it is, too.
100%. Two Hall of Fame football coaches. Once I finished there, I started my coaching career in the Rocky White at West Mecklenburg High School. Was at West Meck for 4 years. Then the next 2 years, I worked under Bruce Harden, Hall of Fame football coach at Providence Day.
Absolutely.
And then I was fortunate enough to work for Terry Cochran and Masanori Taguchi as the first head football coach at Huff High School. So that was my first head football coaching job, and that's kind of where my career got started.
Cool. And so you know a lot about Charlotte football.
Yes.
So let's start here, if you don't mind. Let's talk a little bit about the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
We got round two coming up. We also got the private schools there in their semifinals. And to me right now, when I look at the scope of where we're at, to me, Butler may be the best team out there.
100%, man. Coach Hales has been doing, we started the Queen City Senior Bowl. Coach Hales was the first head coach that we selected.
Right.
Hall of Fame football coach, North Carolina guy, does it the right way. His kids are going to be physical. They're going to be fast. They're going to be strong. They're going to be tough. Coach Littlejohn is over there working with them now. So, that's just a really good football team with the bases. Mike Newsom and those guys got that program rolling a long time ago, and they just been one of the pioneer programs in the state of North Carolina since.
One team that I still think could go a good ways in the playoffs, and just because of the run they had last year, and I've been so impressed with Coach DJ McFadden over at Independence, and just somebody who played there, and now is back coaching there. Just the culture that he's kind of brought back to Independence. I'm just so impressed with, in talking to him, just his mentality and what he's trying to get to those kids to buy into a program which had such a rich history, kind of fell off a little bit, but I think they're back in a big way.
Yeah, let me start with DJ. First of all, DJ is one of the best quarterbacks to come through Charlotte.
Exactly.
A lot of people won't, I'm gonna give him his flowers. I remember coaching starting at the beginning of my career when he was a player, just watching him. Coach Knox, Coach Aaron Brand down at Irmo now, but those guys that have developed here in Charlotte, and hats off to him for coming back to his alma mater and getting things done the right way. He's came down to South Pointe a few times where we're at and brought his kids down there because he wants them to compete and wants them to do that at a high level. So I'm excited for him. Really good quarterback, young player that I'm excited to see what they do this week also. One
more for you on the private side, and Coach Greer over at Providence Day. He may be the GOAT, but I mean, that team, I go out and watch him, and it's like, wow. And what he's done there in building that program up and seeing the kids that are going to, Power 5 schools and stuff like that. But just, to me, just a solid coach.
Man, Chad's been doing it for a while now. When I was at Huff, Chad was the head coach at Davidson Day, coaching his son. Will's been lighting it up. So
exactly.
I'm not surprised that he's in the NFL right now. But, Chad is one of the brightest offensive minds out there. So, I don't see nobody beating him. Those guys that he has are electrifying. The quarterbacks, again, ranked in the country. Ship, from his dad to him as a player now. Right. They just know how to do it the right way. And the people at Providence Day always give you a chance to be successful. So it's a great place to coach football, and I don't see nobody beating them.
I've been in Charlotte since 1999, but really only been doing the sports stuff now for about a year and a half here at Bahakel Sports. And over the last year and a half, watching football on Friday nights in the Charlotte area, just to see some of these programs, though, come back to where they were. And I go to maybe West Charlotte and Coach Kreiner and what he's done out there, or I look at, Providence High School and Coach Ward, 5-5 or 6-5, but getting in the playoffs there and stuff. Is it cool to see some of these teams that maybe, are finding their glory again, get back to where they were? To me, Charlotte is so rich in history. I love to see the West Charlotte come back. North Meck made the playoffs this year.
Yes.
I like to see the older schools kind of coming back to the forefront a little bit. And listen, West Charlotte, I think they'll make some noise still in the 3A.
100%. I got here in 2004. So in 2004, you got Pete Gilchrist at West Charlotte. It was when you hear the name, the guys that were coming out of there. Some great players. have come out of North Meck. So yes, you want to be excited about the tradition because the tradition in football in Charlotte is so rich.
Right.
So you got to be excited for those guys, and those head coaches do a heck of a job. You in school from 7:15 to 2:15. You're trying to figure out a way to go to weightlifting and study hall for a few hours because you got off-campus coaches getting there at 4 o'clock. So you're there, you at practice from 4 to 6, getting home at 7 o'clock, and then you got to start this thing all over again.
Right.
So my hat goes off to those guys and everything that they're doing this year to make sure they're successful.
Let's talk about your season a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you kind of summarize it? Your thoughts on your season?
We are 8-3 right now, going to the second round of playoffs.
Right.
Yep, we're going down to Midland Valley High School. They're 11-0. Tailback has over 20 Division I offers. So we're excited. We're South Pointe. We've got a rich tradition there, and the standard is clear about winning championships. So that's our goal. We ran into a buzzsaw when we played Northwestern earlier this year. Really good football team. Coach Wofford does a really good job there, so we're hoping for the opportunity to see those guys again on Thanksgiving, and hoping for an opportunity to go back to Orangeburg, South Carolina, and play in the state championship. So we're excited. We got a great group of guys, great young team, but old team in the fact that they've worked their butts off all summer long and all season long, and we're excited for the opportunity to be able to play this week.
Offensive side of the ball for you guys. What are you proud of there?
Our offensive line.
Yeah, I got ready. I was going to ask. The big boys up front.
Exactly, man. I played O-line in college. Coach Dre, Coach Harrison, those guys do a heck of a job for us on our offensive line. And I'm excited about, we got 2 backs coming close to running for 1,000 yards. Jaleel Jackson, our only senior running back the last 2 weeks, has been plowing the way for us. So we're excited about the fact that we've been running the ball well. Malachi Marshall's at the quarterback spot. Xavier Current's an athlete that we put in there with over 20 Division I offers. Starts for us on defense, but also comes over on offense and gives us a shot. So we're excited where we're at. Last 3 days of practice have been great. So, you got 75-plus degrees with weather. What else can you ask for in November? So we're excited.
I struggle a little bit with the 80 degrees. Come on, man. I need 45, 50 degrees, that crisp, cool air on a Friday night.
That's it. Yeah, Friday nights we don't mind, but 4 o'clock we'll practice. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball for you guys.
All right, we're fortunate. We have C.J. Dixon.
Right.
All right, I'm going to talk about him first. C.J. currently leads the state of South Carolina and North Carolina in sacks. He's had 20 sacks this season, going to the North-South All-Star game down in South Carolina, down at Myrtle Beach, along with Evan Irvin at the linebacker spot. We have Zantuan Nelson at the cornerback spot for us, Fred Reese, Xavier Currents, like I said, one of the best players in the country.
Right.
So we have some guys on the defensive side of the ball. I explain to the players all the time on Friday night, I'm their biggest fan. You watch them work Monday through Thursday. What you want to see the most is them just play fast. The light bulb goes off for them and just be able to show their talents off. So I'm excited about the opportunity to be the head coach there, and I'm looking forward to Friday night.
You have such a history with high school football and playing and coaching and everything else and going to college and stuff like that, playing ball. In terms of being a head coach, is there one person that you've really learned from? Have you kind of learned a little bit from everybody? Is there one you kind of want to emulate?
Man, I'm going to tell you something. I was fortunate to start my career off at West Meck under Rocky White because, in 2004, West Meck was – the economic status of the school was kind of low, and Rocky did it all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But to be in the foxhole with him made me a better football coach. So you leave a school like West Meck and go to Providence Day, where everybody's pretty fortunate,
right?
And then you working under the perfectionist of Bruce Harden. So I'm working for the ultimate players coach. Now I'm working for a perfectionist under Bruce Harden. So then I learned exactly how to dot every I, cross every T to me opening up a school at 28 years old.
Right.
So, I kind of always market myself behind those 2 guys. Of course, Buddy Pugh taught me how to do it the right way from being a head football coach in college. My head coach in high school, Coach Tom Lewis, everything we did as something that was first class. So, if I had to say, those are the guys that I model myself around, just trying to put all that in the pot and mix it up and give us a chance to be successful.
And you guys have been successful, and you're still, like I said, heading to the second round of the playoffs. As a coach, you're working with teenage boys. And, we both played and stuff, and I know when I was successful, I was a kicker. So
There you go.
But, and I played college ball. Sometimes it's, your head can swell a little bit. How do you keep players on an even keel? Not to get too, I'm getting at? Because, it's like, hey, this is South Point.
It's, we're fortunate at South Pointe because, we currently have 5 guys playing in the NFL right now. They're playing. But those guys come back home and see the players. They give them the humble piece of pie. They come in the waiting room and work out with them. They come back home and run sprints with them. So I think when you can touch a guy that has been at the same rack that you've been at, practiced on the same field, that keeps you humble. When you're playing a team like Lancaster, that is Lancaster High School, that's 2-9, that's on their way to the second round of the playoffs, but that game came down to the last 3 minutes of the game.
Right.
That keeps you humble. So, we always tell ourselves control what we can control. That's our effort and our attitude. So, our guys, I appreciate our seniors because it's a humble piece of pie every day in the locker room. It's a standard at practice that they want to see. And if that standard is not met, we don't go home until we do it right.
Right. Good way to coach.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
it.
Like
That's
that.
it.
So let's talk a little bit about the Queen City Senior Bowl. For those people out there who, when did it come about? What was kind of the thought process behind it? What led to the creation of it?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was at West Mecklenburg, okay, you looked at some of the best players. I'll throw out some names of some guys like Eric Noe that came off the top of my head. David Harrison played offensive line at West Meck, then went to Elon, was an All-American. I look at a lot of players that played at a really, really high level in the Charlotte area that didn't get a chance to show off their efforts in an all-star game. And in the state of South Carolina, you have the Shrine Bowl, just like we have here, and you have the North-South. But you want it when you got football as rich as it is in the Charlotte area, you want to be able to show it off. So we were able to come up with this idea of saying, okay, let's focus on the Charlotte kids. Let's focus on making sure this is not anything to make money off of, but let's focus on showing people how important Charlotte football is and, the great talent that's coming out of this place, and give kids an opportunity 1 extra week for them to show their talents off in front of the college scouts. So we want to be able to make it to where, with me coaching at Providence Day and also coaching in the high school, in the public school area in North Carolina, you want to mix the public and the private school kids because both places has a lot of talent, and be able to let people come off and show their talents off for a week to give them 1 extra week to get an opportunity to go play college football and show off their talents in front of the rest of the city.
And when is it again, to let folks know?
The game is December 16th at 12 o'clock at Olympic Hospital.
Olympic, which is where it was last year?
Yes, sir. That's where it was.
And what
last
year is
year.
this for y'all?
This will be the 5th game coming up. 5th game coming up. So, we got a bunch of players. I'll throw out one like Delmar Glaze. He played in the first one, and Delmar Glaze probably be getting drafted to play in the NFL this year coming up. And also a guy from West Mac. So for us, it was just about showing off the talents of the guys that are in this great city, getting the community to be able to give back. We partner up with Metro School, NCM, in Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District. One of my mentors, Ernie Harris, he does a lot with Metro
Great gentleman.
School. Great guy. Ernie gave me my first piece of humble pie when I started teaching, just somebody to put me under his wing at West Mecklenburg High School, but he partnered up so much with Metro School, just, doing service that nobody knew about. And so when this opportunity came, when we got with the team, we decided to work with Metro School. Ms. Dice and the principals over there doing a heck of a job with all the kids, and they are raising the bar and raising the standard for all of us, letting us know how fortunate we are to be able to do what we do and be able to give back.
So when it comes to selecting the kids, the players, is there a certain thought process behind it? How do you guys go about it?
Without a doubt, we hats off to Matt Morrow.
Matt, Mr. Friday Night is what I call him.
Friday Night Football. He's a genius behind it. So every player has to. The difference in between what we do and probably other people do. The players get to nominate themselves, and then we have a selection team.
Okay.
We have a selection team that goes through, watch the film, and along with different high school coaches that don't have any bias, and look at their junior year and their senior year to be able to select the teams. And we're fortunate that we are doing it with the surrounding areas in Charlotte, Cleveland County, Gaston County, Charlotte-Mecklenburg County, Cabarrus County. So, we've had a representation from all over, but, the hub is also most definitely the Charlotte area.
Right, cool. So 2 coaches.
Yes.
Who are they?
The head coach at, we're going to have to edit that because I can't remember them off the top of my head. Let me think, Jake. We have
One's Coach Ward, right?
One's Coach Ward, and God, Jake, I'm drawing a blank.
That's right. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right, got it.
We got to strip out.
Cool.
Yes.
So you mentioned it briefly. One person you were talking about coming through the Queen City Bowl. See, let's try it again. We're all getting messed up.
Yep.
So you just mentioned one player. Can you talk to me about a few other players that maybe have impressed you, or maybe let me ask you this: has there been a moment in the Queen City Senior Bowl where maybe a kid hasn't been recruited, but has opened eyes to maybe some college coaches?
I'm gonna give you my story. I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you the one that I think sticks out to me the most. It was running back at Mooresville. Okay, is now playing at South Carolina State University.
Okay.
My alumni, and has had a heck of a year. And if you know anything about college football now, his phone is ringing. And people are coming to get him to pay him to play football at a really, really high level. And I'm praying he stays at South Carolina State because we want to win a lot of games.
Right.
But you want to be able to put yourself in a avenue to be able to show off your talents as much as possible. And we've had a lot of players from private to public to 1A football to 4A football come and play in the game and prove that they belong to play on a high level. If I'm at a small 1A private school and now I'm playing against some of the superstar players that came out of Chambers or some of the superstars that have come out of Huff High School, and I get to show off my talent in front of them, it's easy for me now to prove to a college coach that I belong. You guys thought that, you're looking at my 1A film and don't think I can play on that level. When I got in the Queen City Senior Bowl and playing against some of the best players in the country, I rose up to the challenge.
my stuff.
So exactly, it gives
Right.
kids an opportunity to be able to show off their talents.
Hey there, everyone. You're listening and watching the 704 High School Highlight Podcast. It's brought to you by the Downer Law Firm, Charlotte's hometown legal team. If you're ever injured in an accident, make sure you check out the Downer Law Firm. We thank them for their support for high school sports. Welcome back. Talking to Bobby Collins, head coach at South Pointe High School. Thanks for your time. He's also the founder of the Queen City Senior Bowl, December 16th, Olympic High School. Do you have a website?
Yes.
Can people go and get tickets already?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Please go out and get tickets. And that's the thing, like the tickets and the money that we raise, once we pay everybody that helps with the game, that money goes back to the Metro School.
Okay.
So we don't want, I'm a high school football coach in the state of South Carolina, so I love my job and where I'm at, but this is for the kids at the Metro School. This is for the young men that are in Charlotte and the surrounding areas to try to show off their talents. But if you go to QueenCitySeniorBowl.com, you can also purchase tickets there.
In your history of being associated with high school football, from playing it and into coaching it and stuff, how's it changed? Because I know that when I played, and I'm 55, and I know when I played, we might have a couple, 2 weeks before season started, we'd have two-a-days, and then, it is what it is. I've had two sons play at Providence, and it's a different ball game.
Yeah, I think the difference is safety. I think that's the word that you want to put out there. When the things that a lot of people will say that we would say that it's soft from our generation because of how we from 2 days to 3 days and not drinking water at practice. Like the game.
You want a water break? No.
Exactly. The game has changed. You got to put the kids first. It's safety. So you want to put them in an environment to be successful. So I think the rules that have changed our game just a little bit is for the good, because I think it's for the safety of the kids. The last thing you want to do is put yourself or someone else's child in harm's way from you not making the right decisions.
I've asked a couple coaches this, a couple players that have been on the podcast, and I know what you're going to say. Where does academics fall?
Man, up front. For me at South Point, all of our players, we have our football class first block.
Okay.
And, it's not to put football first. It's to make sure that it's consequences if you don't show up on time for school.
Okay.
So all of our players show up on time for school, and then we lift weights, we watch film. Yes, we do football, but if Johnny comes in my office and say, "Hey, coach, I overslept and I need to finish up some homework," he's going to the library and get some homework done. We put academics first.
Right.
We want to give our kids a chance to always start off on a good foot. I'm fortunate I got the best principal and the best athletic director in the country. So we get an opportunity to make sure our kids get academic first. Currently, our team GPA is a 3.4.
Wow.
So our kids are busting their butt in the classrooms, and they're doing exactly what we need them to do. But, now with the transfer portal and the NILs, if you don't do what you're supposed to do in the classroom, you're not going to get that opportunity to play on Saturday, and that's on any level.
So I'll put you on the spot.
Let's hear it.
Which I've done a couple times. You mentioned the young man at South Carolina State who maybe his phone's blowing up now.
Yeah.
We talk about the transfer portal. For me and somebody who's been around football my entire life, my dad played in high school and college and stuff. And like I said, I've had the two boys and I've coached and I've officiated and stuff like that. When it comes to the transfer portal, and people have watched this, I don't like it. And I guess what I don't like about it is it's a two-edged sword. I think the mentality of, well, I'm not getting enough playing time here, I'm going to go here, well, is the problem you're not getting enough playing time because you're not putting forth the effort. Yeah. So I'm going to go somewhere else. Yeah. Or B, it's that realm of just going, I'm not happy here. And, the me mentality versus the team mentality, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I also see the other side of it. And listen, Coach Prom's done some great things in Colorado.
Yeah.
When he walked in that one day, though, and just said, hey, for you guys sitting in the room, I'm bringing my dogs with me. Y'all, and if a kid left that, I get it.
Yeah.
Or, Coach Beamer walks in, he's recruited you, and all of a sudden Coach Beamer leaves. But I still struggle with it some. And I think maybe it's the regulation part of it. Maybe we haven't gotten to that part yet, but I just wanted your thoughts on it.
It's tough. Transfer portal kills high school football kids. I mean, kills a strong word to use, but our recruiting, I was on the phone last night with head football coach at Chester High School, Victor Floyd, Hall of Fame football coach, and we're both trying to put our heads together, figure out what do we got to do to make sure that our kids that are really good players are getting an opportunity to get recruited. If you are at South Carolina and not playing much, before you don't play football no more, you're going to transfer to Gardner-Webb. Now, before when Gardner-Webb would take the high school kid to go play, now they got to transfer from South Carolina. So now Newberry gets to take the kid that Gardner-Webb was looking at.
Right.
So it just cycles its way all the way down to where the fact that we got a lot of high school kids with sad faces.
It's disheartening.
It's disheartening. And I look at it both ways. If you are Jamie Chadwell and you left Coastal, did it the right way, now you at Liberty, he's running a different system than you maybe were recruited to do at Liberty.
Right.
You should get the opportunity to move on and show your talent someplace else.
Right.
So I think it's a double-edged sword. The NCAA won't work it out.
Yeah.
NILs won't change. The transfer portal won't change. I think because what it does, it makes college football exciting. Like everybody's ratings went up. Either you're really, really good or you're really, really bad.
Right.
It's no middle anymore.
And I'll hit that point in a minute. Along those same lines, the NIL. I get it, I guess. I don't like it though.
Yeah.
And I guess my gist is if let's just Jaden Davis over at Providence Day and he goes to Michigan and somebody offers him $3 or $4 million. He's still getting a full ride. It's like, but I also get that some of these kids, that's going to take care of their family for the rest of their lives. So it's such a two-edged sword and a fine line. What I'm scared of is, and what I've stressed when I've talked to people, is the one thing I love, or have loved and still love about college football. I mean, I had my kid go to South Carolina, a kid go to App State, and now a kid at the University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose the purity of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm scared that's where college football is going. The NFL is a business. We get that. And maybe I'm wrong. College football maybe has always been a business, but I think it's even more of a business now. And to me, it's hurting the sport.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with me as a head coach is that the guy beside me, I'm paying $1 million, and this guy's getting nothing. That's the issue,
right?
The camaraderie in the locker room.
How do you
exactly? It's become so much business now in the locker room, and you how do you control that? How do you control the player beside you not being jealous that you're getting paid $1 million, but you're stinking it up in practice, and I just took your spot, but you've got guaranteed money now, or y'all going to match that $1 million for me, and I replace you. But I think college football at that high level has been making so much money for so long. You got to pay them.
Right.
You got to pay them. So the kids have earned their right to do that. I just personally think we have to take the NFL model. It's got to be a salary cap. Guys should only be able to make this, do it by precision, by our position groups, and I think Don Staley does a real good job with it at the University of South Carolina. For what I've heard, I'm not sure, but I just think you got to get a system.
She does.
I
follow her.
You know what I mean? You got to get a system in place. But I think the NCAA's got to govern it. But I do think the kids can get paid. I think if you and I both graduated college with $200,000 in the bank because we played at a high level, even though we didn't make it to the NFL, our lives are changed for the rest of our lives.
Right.
So I think
that's
kids,
a good thing.
Exactly. I think the kids have earned that, but I think we got to govern it. I
know when the ACC coaches were here last week to talk about basketball, and I remember talking to Hubert Davis in UNC, and that's the main thing he said. He goes, listen, it's there. We just got to regulate it.
That's it.
Whether it's the transfer portal or the NIL, We just got to regulate it.
Yes, sir.
And right now, it's just kind of nobody can seem to get a grasp on it.
Yes. Yes.
And, you know, not with high school, but, you know, back to college, too. You talk about expansion, and, you know, I could go into all of this detail. Like,
Yeah.
the ACC to me is no longer the ACC.
100%.
You've lost the purity
yes.
of the ACC.
That's correct.
You can tell me Virginia's going to go out and play Stanford. I'm like, no.
Exactly.
So it gets kind of crazy. What I worry about now is the trickle-down effect to the high school level.
It's coming.
And I know North Carolina, at one point, they were like, hey, we'll do the NIL, and then they stopped it, saying,
Yeah.
no, it ain't going to happen. And we know. I mean, we've been around it. There are kids who want to, you know, I'm going to go to – I mean, I've seen kids on Instagram going, I'm blessed that I'm going to here. And I'm like, wait, you're going from one high school to another?
That's it.
and you know, it's a thing I struggle with or whatever, but are you scared of the trickle-down? And like you said, maybe you're already seeing it. Are we going to lose the purity of high school football?
It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
And what do we do?
You can't. You can't do much about it. You can't do much about it because if you are some of the great players that have came out of North Carolina, some of the great players that came out of South Carolina, you think about South Pointe greats like Jadeveon Clowney or Stephon Gilmore, guys that were first-round draft picks in the NFL coming out of University of South Carolina, coming out of South Pointe, those guys would have been signing $1 million NIL deals because
Right.
they were ranked in the country
Right.
as a player. So I think, again, it's got to be a governing group that governs it. I think that we as the commissioner in the high school leagues in North Carolina, South Carolina, I think Georgia's already passed it. Somebody's got to govern it. Somebody's got to wheel it back in. But I do think it's going to happen on the high school level sooner than later.
So let me ask you this in terms of North Carolina, South Carolina. Who's got the better football players?
I think both state has players. I think in the state of South Carolina, you are fortunate to do football a lot more. I think we are, you know, we have an open season in March, and
Right.
then we have an open season in May. In the state of North Carolina, you can't have a spring football game.
Right.
So I think North Carolina has a lot of talent. I think South Carolina, we get to develop our talent a little bit more because of the time and the allocations we get with them.
Because like here, like for CMS, like middle school, you can't play as a sixth grader.
Correct.
So you can only play seventh and eighth.
Correct. And in the state of South Carolina, in the month of March, we have an open season. I'm allowed to have 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th
Really?
graders all on the field
All on
with
the field
me.
at the same time. Wow.
All, you know what I mean? And again, no helmets, just T-shirts and
Sure.
shorts.
But for that sixth grader, being out there with an 11th grader?
Exactly. You just going over fundamentals and you teaching them how to play the game the right way so that when we get back to May and they get to do spring football and the high school get to do spring football, we're moving at a much faster pace.
Cool.
Yeah.
Coach Collins,
Jeff, thanks
thanks
for
for your
having
time,
me.
partner.
That's it.
I greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it. Best of luck round 2.
Yes.
Go get them.
That's it.
And we'll keep an eye on you and see how you do. And thanks for all you do for our kids, for our players, teams, everybody around there. We thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
All righty.
Hey, guys, that's it for the 704 High School Highlight Podcast brought to you by the Downer Law Firm. Make sure that if you're injured, you contact the Downer Law Firm for all your needs there. And, of course, enjoy the football action this week, both in North Carolina, South Carolina. One more time, Queen City Bowl, December 16th.
December 16th, QueenCitySeniorBowl.com.
See, he knew what was coming. That's what I was going to ask you.
Please go and get your tickets. It's for a really good cause.
I had a chance to be on the sideline last year and work that and talk with the kids and stuff. And I know it's something that they'll always remember.
100%.
So appreciate your time. Guys, that's it. Make sure that if you listen or watch this podcast, you like it, you subscribe, comment. We always like to get comments, talk to you. And until then, enjoy the football, enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next Friday.